A very good afternoon to all listeners, viewers of Suniyetau. I have great pleasure in welcoming and introducing to this audience my great friend Sujata Tiwari, who we have known as a family member for well over 20 years, nearly 30 years. And mm, she has grown from just a growing lady to such an accomplished literature writer of many books and a very accomplished life experiencer, if I can say, and that it will be the basic theme of our talks in this session, as well as the series of talks that we're going to talk about. And I would like to share the screen with respect to the various books Sujata has written. But before that, let me say hello to you, Sujata, and welcome to Suniyetau, and let you say a few words to the audience. You know the audience.
Yes, thank you so much. It's really a privilege and honor to be in this show with you because, like you said, we've known each other for almost 30 years. And you have actually been a part of the process of my evolution of my character, as I call. That's why I wrote my book. And so it's it's like a sort of a dream come true when you lose contact, but you come back and it seems like it was just yesterday that we talked and we met. So nothing changed. It's only that we connected. But like God does for me, I think it's the right time at the right place that we connected, because it's a question of my voice being heard, is what I believe. So thank you so much for giving me this space.
Yeah, you're very welcome. But one thing has changed. I have much less hair than what you had seen in the past.
Okay. So here is my comment on this. A lot of people say this, and I always say, if you just remove the bodies and you just hear the voice, what does it tell you? There's no age, there is no physical appearance, nothing, right? It's just a question of two minds which connect. And that is what, but unfortunately in society, we look in 30 seconds, we actually judge a person by how they look, what they are wearing, where they are staying, etc., etc. And we then classify them and put them in boxes. You don't have to be a certified psychiatrist to do it or a professional to do it. This is what society does. And I don't agree with it. I always say, if you don't understand me or my silence, then you don't understand me at all. And no matter what I will say, you will never understand me. So
Well,
बाल
fine.
चले जाने से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? आप तो
Wonderful.
आप ही
Wonderful. It's good you still recognize the situation, and that's what it is. Our hearts are close, and we communicate good and bad things, always. And it doesn't matter how long we've been apart in meeting or communicating. We come back to a mutual respect and affection whenever we do get to communicate. So let's talk about the communications that you have given to this world, and I congratulate you on being such a bold person in talking in this day and age, and with the societies that we have been experiencing, where you have taken such steps along with your family members and so on. So let's just talk about the books that you have written, and uh, that's where we will uh, look at the some of the things that you have done. So your very first book is Against All Odds, and yeah, you want to say a few words about it?
You tell me what you
All
I
right,
say
let's
something
talk.
about?
Yeah, we will go in detail with each of these
Yes.
books over time,
Yeah.
and this is where we have some more detail which we'll talk about. And
Yeah.
then I wish I could maneuver this better. Yeah. And then there are a few shorts which we will cover during your journey about this book. And this is a simple scroll over those photos, which we'll talk
Mm,
about. And then your second book is about to appear, um, and that is uh, there's a surprise here which you will reveal for us.
mm.
And then this is your second book, the book of
Yes. Yes.
whimsical musings, which you've
Yes.
written with your son Vivek Tiwari.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Yes.
Um, and then on top of that, these are the various um, just shots from
The
your
book
book.
cover. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a bit more detail, which we'll go about in the session when we will talk
Mm,
about this particular book, and
yes.
then we move on to the uh, things that you've done in the third book, and this is
Mm.
a paperback book called Wick.
Crime fiction.
Yeah,
Yes. Crime fiction.
yeah. Sorry. So you were saying?
I said this is a crime fiction.
Oh
Pocket.
yes, that's a suspense which we'll keep till the end, and we'll reveal a little few
Yeah.
things about it. And I would show the viewers that this is just a quick run through of the publication and publication Sujata has done, and then um, we will provide these links for our viewers to be able to purchase and communicate about this book with Sujata, and also take the things a bit further. So let me stop sharing, and
Mm.
let's talk about your book about, the first one.
What do you want to know? Shall I tell
Yeah,
you how
yeah,
I wrote,
just yeah, yeah. What
prompted me to write the book?
prompted you to write? How you went about it?
Yeah.
Any big things that you want to reveal
Yeah.
uh, uh, during this conversation?
Okay. So this book was, as you know, published in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and it covers my entire journey, right from, like when I was a child. It starts actually when I was a child of 10 years and I lost my father. So
Mm-hmm.
it starts from there. And since then, the story of me, the character, how I evolved through life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this book is all about. So, born in the wrong country, as I say, India. And I had grandparents who were from freedom fighting to, very educated, literary, like, in your category, professors and stuff like that, where, people think that everything which has a certified designation, that's key to a human being's identity. But they were very humble and they taught us good values. Like, I'll give you a small excerpt in the book, which is there about my parents. My father's side and my mother's side, they were both from very highly educated, bureaucratic backgrounds. While my mother, she had only done her schooling and got married to an IS officer. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. She felt initially a little bit probably, intimidated, or she felt a little out of place because they were so well qualified. And she was only a school, this thing. Not that she should have bothered, because it was an arranged marriage and they really embraced her for who she was. And it goes to my father in one of the letters, which I read, and she was, saying her how she felt inadequate. And you know what he said to her? He says, I didn't marry you to discuss Shakespeare. I think
Mm-hmm.
that
Brilliant.
that said it all, So life is more than your academic credentials, is what they taught us. Anyway, I go to, learning to deal with people who changed the moment my father died. And I saw my mother struggle to bring three daughters alone. I saw all that. And during the process of learning and evolving, I married the boy next door, which you know that you were a part of, small part of the drama which followed and ensued.
Yeah.
And then I remembered what my mother had said. She had said, you have to be minimum graduate and you have to be financially independent. So we all three sisters had to do minimum graduation. I was never interested in studies. This is very key. I was never interested in studies, but I did my bachelor's because of her, adamant stand. Whereas both sisters did their masters, but I didn't do masters. But look at it down the line, where I went, what I did, and that, why should I not be proud of my achievements? Because it really was a struggle. So when I was a housewife of 13 years, I rebelled and I decided to take up a job, and I didn't care what it was. So in those days, I was in a conservative city in India, where it was not the norm for a woman to just walk up to a guy and ask him for a job in the hotel. That guy was actually doing walk-in interviews. He had finished his job of doing the interviews. He was going back when I reached out to him. And he tried to put me off by saying, I've finished the interviews and I have to catch a flight. I said, give me 5 minutes. So to further put me off, I think he said, okay, I'm packing in my room. If you want, you can come and talk while I'm packing. Now, that is something not really done for. Of course, I'd taken my husband. I told him to sit in the reception. If I don't come down in 10 minutes, this is the room number I'm going to, so you can come and check it out. But anyway, I talked to him and asked him for a job in sales and marketing of computers with no resume, no background, nothing. And I got the job. So that's my journey of being a career woman. I progressed again without qualifications to journalism. And then I went on to anti-counterfeiting. Though I was not a retired cop, lawyer, judge, nothing. But I did investigations, I did raids, I dealt with NGOs, I dealt with the ministers, with the state ministers, and I tried to help change laws for the brand for the brands that I was protecting. I was on a committee. So all my bosses were chairmen and managing directors. So it was like baptism by fire. You learn on the job. That's what I did. So when, I finished all that, I got my freedom from India and I landed up in Singapore. That's where I started my entrepreneurial business. And every time people say, oh, Sujata, you can't do that, Sujata somehow goes and does that. So I set up my business in Singapore without prior business background, right? So I think I take the risks, the challenges, and I quietly do it because my philosophy is you work on principles and not on results. What will happen? At the most, I'll get rejected. At the most, I'll fail. For me, failure means just another way that things didn't work out and you have another approach to doing it. In academics and scientific departments, when you all do research, I'm sure not all the nuts and bolts click at the first instance, right? No. So if you're working on a project, it doesn't work, you probably try another approach. That is how I look on, not like the society norm, oh, you failed because you didn't achieve this, status symbol, or you didn't achieve this revenue growth, or you didn't achieve this thing. I look at it holistically. What did I take, lessons learned, and how did I change, reinvent the wheel and do something new? That is what this book about. And while I did all this career thing, I also had a spiritual experience where I met God in Barcelona during the worst time of my life. This was when my daughter got raped and the whole family was shattered. Most people only think about the victim, not about the family. But the family that goes through such a trauma, it's something you live with all your life. It's not a scar which you totally forget. And when the people ostracized us, there was nobody to stand by me. It was only a handful of Mumbai police and one, the lawyer who fought my case from the state side. They kept me going. And for 8 years, I fought that battle. And my husband had to continue doing his job. He did his job. The children had to continue with their lives. But I took on, somebody has to make a decision and somebody has to take up the mantle, which I did. And there was not a moment, I say, Very often leadership is not about designations, it's about actions. Actions which you take when you may not be the most popular person, or it may not be the norm for you to do it. But